This is Amani with Build Brothers here at 7740 Eads Avenue in La Jolla. Starting my digital inspection looking at a tar and gravel roof. There's about 10 skylights on this entire roof, and this building was built in 2003, making the roof approaching about 20 years old. And we do see evidence of weathering along the edges here. Normally around the edges, this is going to be the first to fail once the product is nearing the end of its life expectancy. And you can see that the product is starting to curl up on the edges here, making it vulnerable to wind-driven rain. We do see a modified bitumen torch material along the edge here as well. But yeah, over time, the product, when it begins, just baking in the sun, that tar begins to dry out, and that essentially makes it no longer waterproof to the rain. And we see evidence of that on multiple portions here, and there's actually active leaks coming from a couple of these skylights above the master bedroom. And again, over time, when those oils begin to deplete on that tar, that fiberglass begins to show through, and we can see more of the product starting to lift up right here, creating a slight gap on the edge here. Again, more of that fiberglass showing through, and again, the product is beginning to lift up on this portion, and around the edges right here you can see a small gap. You can also see some caulking has been applied to this smaller skylight to mitigate some of that water seepage from the rain. The owner has reported leaks coming from these two skylights as well as another one of those over there. Just to show you some more of that wear and tear from the weathering. Again, more fiberglass showing through here as well as here. So this greatly affects the product's ability to waterproof the rest of the roof, because with age those oils begin to evaporate and that tar begins to crack. So my recommendation with this roof would be to tear off this old material, the tar and gravel, and replace it with a TPO material. TPO is a synthetic material. It's going to look like this over on this building over here. It's a synthetic material. It would create this entire surface to be one single membrane, and TPO is great at waterproofing long term. It's actually used on a lot of commercial buildings and works very good on flat roofs. So yeah, another thing that would happen is I want to reflash all of these skylights, because if there is a leak right now, there will be future leaks, and so that is an indication that the product is failing as of now. We also want to reflash all these T-tops as well and reapply mastic to all the penetrations, because over time that mastic begins to crack, similarly to the product on the tar and gravel. So it's going to be similar to this, just those oils depleting over time while baking in the sun. As for the building on the pool room, we'll create a separate video for that one. But that ends my inspection video for this. Now on the top of the pool house, it's going to be similar to the main building. It is a tar and gravel roofing system on a flat roof, and you can see a little bit of evidence of that tar beginning to dry out over time. But something that I wanted to point out that was an area of concern is this hole right here. So if I lift this up, essentially that is a area for water to seep in and get underneath this roof. But yeah, looking around here, assuming that this was built in 2003 as well, it's going to be about the same age as the main building. Again, you can see a little bit of that tar starting to show through, and that just happens with weathering. Yeah, and then over time you can see a little bit of cracking around the penetrations with the mastic. Begins to dry out in the sun, so we could definitely reapply mastic around all the penetrations. But because this area, this building is near the beach, it's going to be exposed to a lot of that salt water in the air and a lot of that moisture. So again, my recommendation with this roof would be to replace it with a TPO material, because this area is near the beach. And TPO, again, is a synthetic material. It's used on a lot of commercial buildings, and it does a very good job long term keeping that waterproof or waterproofing capabilities on this roof. So yeah, that ends my video inspection for this portion. Thank you.